Hello, welcome everyone. Today at Industry Ethos, the podcast where we talk to builders and the industrialists and the founders who are reshaping factories with technology. I'm Aaron, your host, and today we're diving into future of manufacturing with James, who is a co-founder of Linewise, a YC-backed startup slashing down downtime and training time on factory floors. And just want to get into it, James. We've known each other for a while now, but for the listeners, can you just give us like a background story on basically your life?
Sure. Yeah. Hi, Aaron. Thank you so much for inviting me. And yeah, hi to everyone who's listening to the podcast. I'm James. I was born and raised out of Bangkok, Thailand. And then I went to do my undergrad at Imperial College, where I studied as a material scientist. And then once I finished my school, went to McKinsey, did a lot of operational consulting work. So I did a lot of lean manufacturing projects, helping factories to improve their downtime, improving their yields. But as a consultant, you're always one degree away from actual execution. You're giving a strategy, you're giving suggestions on what to improve the line. But I always wanted to be at the other end of the table, like really helping the clients and really solving impacts at scale. So I got the opportunity to study my MBA at MIT. So I was sponsored by McKinsey, and there I met a lot of amazing researchers. I actually met my co-founder. He did his PhD at MIT, also another material scientist, and he was on a mission to solve a lot of the defects issue that come out from his lab space as well. So he was doing a lot of material research, and so we clicked on day one. So we met up second year of my
Yeah.
MBA. We met at Starbucks, and then we just spent the next basically now 1.5 years together solving problem for the physical world. So I think our passion is really about like cracking using AI, latest technologies to really tackle problems in the physical space. Yeah. So that's a
Wow.
bit about myself. Now we moved from Boston. We met at MIT. Now we moved
Mhm.
to San Francisco. We just finished the Y Combinator incubation program. So now we are full-time founders. Yeah. That's a
Wow.
bit about ourselves.
That's actually really impressive, like background. Like I see like you really had a great like education, like one of the top universities in the world, and also you worked in a really great place. Like it how was the decision when you make like, okay, I want to do my own startup instead of working in these big corporations? Because when you go that route, like you would have like a really steady like
Mm,
situation, but when you go in the startup route, it's like rocky, right?
yep,
So how did you make
totally.
that decision?
Yeah, I mean, my parents still question my decision, but you know, classic Asian parents, very
Yeah.
conservative. I spent 5 years at McKinsey. I think I've done a lot of the pretty slides making the Excel, right? I really
Hmm.
feel like now I'm at the age I just turned 30. I'm at that age in my life where I feel like I really want to do something new, something that's really like really bring impact to the floor and not just like like a secondhand support as a
Yeah.
consultant. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I feel like there's nothing to lose, you know, give it
Yeah.
a best shot. Worst case, I can always go back to a corporate job, but
Yeah.
that's that's like hopefully never gonna happen. So yeah.
Yeah, there's like really great future with like Linewise. I've been following you for a while. You guys are like doing great cutting downtime and like with the speed of training and stuff. So why
Mm.
don't you just like give for the listeners what is Linewise, like what are you guys doing, and how you actually ended up choosing idea of Linewise to work on like now?
Yeah, so maybe I'll start with the second question. So one of the projects at McKinsey, I have seen a downtime that cost a company $3 million, and that's like a
Wow,
3 days of breakdown.
that's
So it was
insane.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, they do like baby milk formula, right?
Hmm.
One of the global brands. Each day of downtime cost them about $1 million in terms of loss in revenue. And
Wow.
then at the end of the third day, I actually see the head of maintenance got fired on the spot because he's losing them too
Wow.
much money. So I just
Right.
see like, yeah, it's such a big loss because there's a machine that nobody knows how to handle it, and they were waiting for
Wow.
the OEM to come to fix. So I just feel like given our stage of like, how information is so widespread, everyone is accessible, but like on the actual physical floor of operations where knowledge is needed the most is where people are lacking. So that's why we're like, and AI, the biggest advantage of AI is always about like getting access to information very quickly, interpreting it and giving it accessible to anyone. So I just feel like it's a prime spot to explore. And this is like almost the internet age of revolution, right? Like back
Hmm.
then, people moving from pen and papers to the
Yeah.
computer, and you see how much like 5x in productivity. And I think this is the next 5x or 10x in terms of productivity and
Oh,
improvements to
that's
seeing.
actually like crazy with these big corporations. Like the downtime you said, like for an hour, like almost $2 million, right?
But that was like $1 million a day.
$1 million a
Yeah,
day.
and
Okay.
this is just a plant. It's not even the biggest plant. Like they have like
Okay.
five.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like you can see if you scaled up. So I did my market research. In the US alone, we're losing about $200 billion every year
200.
due to
Okay. Yeah.
downtime and yield losses. Yeah, and manufacturing itself is a $3 trillion sector of GDP.
Right.
So it's huge. The TAM is really big in this industry.
Yeah. I can
Yeah.
actually relate to this. Like I was working in my internship in like one very big gold mine company based out of Toronto,
Right.
and their downtime is like almost $500,000 an hour. So
Right.
for
Yeah,
them, it's
that
like
is even bigger. Yeah.
bigger, like because and the worst part is that they cannot afford having a 1 hour of downtime because all of their mines are in a very remote place. So
Right.
even if you want to have like any part like delivered to them, it's gonna take a day. So
Mm,
that's out of like 24 hours down, boom, gone.
mm.
So for
Yes,
them,
for
it's
sure.
like really, really, really good.
I mean,
So
incredible.
and
Yes.
also, I want to get into like you just mentioned a bit. How did you meet with your like co-founders and your team currently,
Mm.
and how you guys like ended up saying, okay, we'll work on this together. We'll spend our day and night, our capital, our our souls on this idea. Like, how did you guys
Yeah.
end up?
Yeah. I mentioned earlier, I always wanted to do my own business, right?
Hmm.
Especially with AI becoming so prominent. Like I always thought of doing a startup in AI. And then I'm always not the most tech savvy guy, right? So like I I bumped into my PhD co-founder. He was also exploring business idea and he was
Oh,
an expert in computer vision. So he was building a vision product. He used AI vision
mhm.
to capture his lab experiments and
Yeah,
then document it into a lab procedures. So he's cutting down documentation time by 99%. So from like a few hours every day writing lab reports, he just it take like a minute or two for the AI to interpret all the video footages. And
right.
so I was like, wow, this guy's like doing some cool stuff for his own use, but there's much bigger opportunities beyond the lab space. So that's why we yeah we we basically joined force around last summer, right?
Mhm,
And and then we brought in the third co-founder. She was a good friend of mine from our undergrad, so we went to Imperial College together,
mhm.
and then we know each other for 10 years. She's always a very hands-on person, very active. Like she gets shit done basically,
Yeah,
and that's like the most important trait of a startup founder.
right.
So I was like, the first thing I thought of is like, oh, we need a COO. Like, I need to get her on board. Yeah. And then because we were working a lot on the vision space, my CTO co-founder, he also knew a guy who works in this space a lot. So Will, his name is Will. He worked into early stage startup as founding engineers, really experts in computer vision. So
Okay.
we feel like we need more firepower in the technical space. So we got him in. So it's four of us. Just I think we are like we had this common mission of like building something successful, right?
Mhm.
We don't know exactly what we're building, but we just know that we're here to build something together. So I think that's like the thing, the gel that bonds us. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So that's
actually a really great story. I would say like co-founders and startups are really important. I would say because they're like your buddies in the front
yes,
line, just like in a war zone, right? So
exactly. It's a war
you
zone.
wanna have the trust in them. That's actually really nice. And can you just like for the listeners just get into what is Linewise, what it solves, and how Linewise is actually spends its day in the manufacturing field and the factory floors?
Yeah, so you can think of Linewise as building a virtual AI engineer where it collects the knowledge of the factories. And whenever you need to retrieve this information, usually when there's a downtime or when there's like a product defects quality, how do you get access to this information the fastest? So we have two components to our product. So one is the knowledge capture. We use AI vision to
Mhm.
the point earlier to capture all the processes, whatever people are doing, we capture it into our platform. And then you can supplement this information with like the manuals, the SOPs that is already pre-existing into our platform. So like a Jarvis, so we collect
Yeah.
all this information, and then like, oh shoot, something is wrong. The line is down with this error code, or like there's a there's a defects for this can lines. So like Jarvis, can you tell me what's wrong? And then you it
I see.
can
Yeah.
provide you the yeah. So in a fancy term, it's like a knowledge. We build a next generation knowledge management platform. But
Oh,
when we pitch outside, it's much easier to position ourselves as like a troubleshooting agent, like yeah,
hmm
like troubleshooting RCA agent for like defects or downtime. Yeah,
yeah. But
yeah.
I
That's a
want,
bit of a long description.
yeah, but
Yeah.
I want to ask you a question, like, because when you are like you're working with manufacturing field,
Yep.
my experience, I worked in a manufacturing field myself before, and what I'm seem to experience is that in manufacturing some people don't want to share their experience with you. They want
Uh,
to keep it to themselves,
uh,
as you call on your like LinkedIn post that I see, like
uh,
Joes, right? Like
Joe.
they don't
Yeah.
want to share, they want to be dependent on, right? So
Right.
do you guys see this kind of an issue on your field, or like how do you guys overcome this?
Yes. Yes. That's a really good point. I would say that's one of the biggest barrier to penetrate the market. And obviously, we're not successful in penetrating everybody's because, to your point, some people they're just a bit more fearful of being less important, right? Or
Mhm.
even data privacy. A lot of
Yeah.
people are concerned of they still not they still think AI is a black box, so they don't know what we're doing with the data.
Mhm.
So it's a lot of like finding the right culture of the client. So we usually have to go like top down, looking for like
Oh, yeah.
plant director, the CI
Mhm.
managers who really want to drive this initiative. So we need to find at our stage, find a compatible partner that is willing to go on this journey with us. So
Yeah.
it's very hard to convince people who will be against sharing.
Yeah.
So at this early stage, it's about finding compatible partner that has the same mission that is aligned with us. Yeah,
I see.
yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
like
I'm
what
sure
what what
you feel the same because you have background in
Mhm.
manufacturing as well.
Yeah. So like, and also want to get into like, how are your maybe your clients' reaction when they see this kind of a tool actually exist and they can actually get really good use out of it? Like, how do
Uh,
they actually react?
yeah, I mean, there's two main reactions. So one will be like, wow, like sometimes we will show them like our like the final, the end product, the end goal. Like if these things get information not just to your knowledge base, but like to your sensor data, to your live stream of like
Mhm.
the sensor, like this is what it's capable of. And then people will be like, wow. So like in their minds, like it's like watching like those movie, like those futuristic movie from Marvel. Yeah. So I think it's pretty amazing. And even the basic features that AI can do, like, you know, I'm sure you're aware of like RAG, like retrieval augmented generations.
Mhm.
That already amazed a lot of people. But once you combine additional layers of like MCP and like integration to other information source real time, like
Yeah.
that really like kind of like inspires a lot of imaginations on people. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually see the value of your one of your product is like, correct me if I'm wrong, is you capture a video of a machine, how to operate it, and what it does is it actually chronologically like layers it out and like shows you how you can actually operate it in all the languages, right?
Yes, yes, you
And
can.
this is like really, really uh valuable product because I was working in a factory in Turkey that they're like two maintenance guys is actually has the knowledge of the, how can I say, the plant, and they don't want to share it. So like having this kind of a tool in those like mid-market, like small, medium-sized companies is like really, really powerful. But I guess like you guys are going more forward, like enterprise size. What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, we found interesting use case for that beyond manufacturing, like R&D for consumer electronics, right?
Mhm.
We have Nasdaq listed companies whose R&D team are spending like thousands of hours every year to document the lab process.
Wow.
So we have shown that we can cut that documentation time down by 95%. So from an average of like 2 to 3 hours per SOP, they take about 5 to 10 minutes per SOP.
Wow. So
So
it's like
that's the impact we can.
from
Yeah.
almost 5 hours to 5 minutes.
Yeah, you can say that for the longer
Wow.
process. They spend like half a day writing a process,
Mhm.
and now we cut it down to 5 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. So like now I can see the value of the idea because, not a lot of startups actually come out for like manufacturing. There are like
Mm,
AI wrapper startups, like there are a lot of startups, but you focused, you wanted to focus on like manufacturing specifically. So
mm,
why did you just select like, I know you worked in like really good manufacturing companies and stuff.
yep.
What makes you excited about manufacturing?
So it's something from my background coming from Thailand. Like we're still a developing country, and most people I know, even myself, I come from a manufacturing family business background. Most of my friends who had business, they manufacture stuff, right? So it's something that is like you see every day. Right? You grow up seeing
Yeah.
like, oh, this is like bread and butter of our economy, right? And then I always had this mission of going back eventually to Thailand and then helping my country develop and grow. And so manufacturing is the most obvious choice of creating that impact for my society. And
Yeah.
also in terms of more practically, manufacturing is still, I would say, is much underpenetrated compared to the
Yeah.
other sectors. Even in Y Combinator, you see there's like maximum 5% companies working in
Yeah.
the physical world, like
Mhm.
AI in the physical space. Half More than half the batch is working on like dev tools,
Yeah.
selling to each other, selling to other softwares. So
Yeah.
I just feel like we have the edge. Like I have the background, right? Our team has everybody has background in manufacturing, and it's something that is like there's a lot of arbitrage left to
Yeah.
capitalize on. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say like right now the manufacturing is not as well served with the AI tools and stuff. We still see like legacy softwares that manufacturers are using, and it's crazy, man. I'm like, how do you guys still use these kind of like
Yeah.
software,
Yeah.
like ERP systems, MES systems, and stuff? They're in like 19th century. Some companies, especially, like some
Yes.
of them,
Yes.
they're still like trying to adopt. But I guess like manufacturing needs to adopt AI more than anything because you know it's gonna make their life easier. That's what we're trying to achieve with this
Totally.
actually with this
Totally.
podcast. And also you mentioned I want to get into your YC background. Like I would say like for me actually is YC is like the best school that you can join and learn from it, even though I never joined YC. But what would your take on like YC and how it actually worked? Like were you able to get what you expected?
Hmm. Yeah. Definitely. YC. They provide you with the initial funding. They give you exposure. Like they have millions of followers. So like just launching the product give you a million eyeballs instantly, right? And then it helps you with the fundraising. So definitely, like if you get a chance to go to YC, like totally you have to go for it. Like you can't miss this chance. And so that's more like the media side of things. But also in the batch, you're meeting like the best founders you'll ever meet. Like you meet like high school dropouts who are like already having like thousands of customers in the application. So like you're like, wow, like you're just impressed by the quality of the bar of the people. Like
Yeah.
you never imagine like how much an 18 years old can do until you meet this
Wow. Yeah.
bunch of YC founders. Yeah, it's just like it just motivated you. Like you're like, oh shit, I'm much older, right? So like
Yeah.
I can't like you always be like, oh, I can't lose to this like college dropout. So it provided additional motivations. And
Right.
finally, I would say like YC is very action oriented. So
Right.
every 2 weeks we have a group check-in. Everybody has to go through like what's their objective, what's their goal for the two
Mhm.
weeks. Have you hit it? Why did you fail? Like most people didn't hit the goal, right? But like the key thing is like understanding what's the blocker and how
I
do you
see.
improve.
Yeah.
So it's like keeping each other accountable very rapidly, right? So every 2 weeks you gotta do something tangible to move your company
Wow.
further than the last 2 weeks. So it's like a really real pressure cooker, and then you can't sleep very sound because you're like, shit, have I done enough for today? Yeah.
Wow.
Apologies for all the shit that I say in this podcast.
Yeah, that's like amazing. Like seeing like as you mentioned, like high school dropouts, like building a
Yeah,
product that has like maybe 1,000
yeah.
customers already. That's really impressive. Like that sets the bar really
It
high up.
is, it is.
But
Yeah.
like, how was your journey applying to YC, and what would you give to the listeners who having like manufacturing startup and they want to apply to YC? Like, what are
Mm.
your takes on it?
I would say like YC is very objective. So like they would obviously, if you have a viable a business, that's already showing that people are willing to pay for, right? That's probably the biggest metric. And then like YC doesn't ask all this like standard VC question, right? Like how are you defensible? Like these are like, I don't think it matters so much when you're early stage. What actually matters at the early stage is like you have a product that people want to use, and that's like my YC motto is like build things
Mhm.
people want. They didn't say
Right.
like build defensible product. They don't
Yeah.
care
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
It's like you just need to find a demand, and then
Mhm.
if you're good enough, you're gonna figure out all the questions. Yeah. So I would say like most companies don't even most startup fail before they even like like make a single cent from the customer.
Mhm.
Because like people are overthinking on all the stuff about startup. Like you're
Yeah.
like, oh, you need to start hiring, you need to incorporate. Like all that thing never matter until you actually find the product that people want to pay for. And then on applying, we got in on the second round. First round, we got some feedback, right? So like, oh, prove more traction. Like you should start getting actual customer.
This is
You should
YC saying it to you.
yeah. So after the interview, they reject us. They give you feedback, right? Like they were like, get another technical co-founder because this is a technical product, and then like prove more traction before you
Mhm.
apply. So we did that within the next 3 months. So
Oh.
YC actually admire people who are persistent and they
Mhm.
actually learn from their feedback. So I think that's part of the reason we got in is like they can see our development, right? So like, oh, this guy, they actually went on to get another co-founder. They actually went on to like prove more traction. So we got in on the second interview. Yeah. So persistence,
Yeah.
and Paul Graham came to our batch and then he was like, the number one indicator of a successful founder is like the tenacity to not give up. So like you just have to be very, very like but grinding, right? Like the grit that you need a lot of grit. Yeah. So I would say
Wow.
like don't give up. Don't treat YC as the end goal. It's like you should just focus on your business
Right.
and then apply YC as you build it. And if your business is good enough, YC would definitely like
Yeah.
you would get the attention. So like don't just focus on getting YC. It's like
Yeah.
your focus just to build a good business and then they'll take notice. Yeah. And if you're
Yeah.
really good, like lovable,
Mhm.
the YC
Yeah.
actually like I heard they actually begged them to go to YC because Anton was like a second time. Like he used to go to YC. Like YC was like begging them to go back for the second time, but they're already
Yeah.
like so successful, so they don't even need to go back.
Wow.
Yeah.
That
So
that's
like
that's
yeah.
actually crazy. And how did you guys actually learn that you got accepted to YC, and how did you guys react?
I mean, I was like on. It was like so we got in around the what was it? March, end of March, right? It's for yeah. I was on a spring break vacation with my girlfriend. So I was like actually in Beverly Hills, just chilling around, and then like Tom, our partner is Tom Blomfield. He just gave me a call, right? So I was like so excited. I just yeah. I think my girlfriend was mad at me because like I couldn't like focus on our trip after that. Cause I was
Oh
so
my.
like so anxious about like sorting my journey, like my trip to San Francisco. Yeah, it was
Wow.
funny. Yeah, but like you interview in the morning and they told you like immediately the day off. Like, so we talk to them in the morning, and by 6 p.m. evening, like they give you the call. So we
Wow.
were like, yeah, we were like,
So right after a meeting until 6 p.m. they call you.
they call you on the
Yesterday.
day. Yeah, on the day itself. So yeah.
Man, that's actually crazy. And like before like we're running out of time, like what would your like how can I say tips for manufacturing startups would you say like you gotta do this, focus on this, and like what would your tips for new manufacturing startups for?
I think definitely get some use cases, right? For it's very hard to get people to try it out. You really need to rely on your circle of network. So in the beginning, like I'm just relying on like my MIT network. Like my co-founder, he went to Wharton, so Wharton alumni. Just and then getting my MIT like professor to help connect us to like some people who are in the circle. So like you have to leverage a lot on your personal connections because like you just need to prove something. Like just get a use case, just make sure that you're doing something helpful for the industry,
Mhm.
right? So number one is just get one or two use case going, right? And then until people start noticing you, then it's very hard to build a momentum if you're starting from zero. Yeah. So it's like
Yeah.
you just have to start somewhere. I think that's the
Right.
hardest part. And is like manufacturing is especially difficult, right? It's a lot of like relationship and yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
get some good advisor, so we good advisor in the space. So he's been helping us to connect to like the C suite of manufacturing. So
even
you
like
yeah,
manufacturing is like really hard to penetrate as a salesperson, right? So
exactly.
uh it's really like great for you guys like working on this idea, trying to solve real world problem
Mm,
on the plant, and
right.
it's really really nice. And like before we go, like where can people find you, learn more about your product, and maybe get this actually help?
Yeah, so Linewise is very active on LinkedIn. You can just search us, line for production line, Wise like smart, like WISE, right? Or you can reach out directly to my personal email. It's just james@linewise.io. Yeah, so we got the IO domain because it's the cheapest one. We have to be scrappy. Yeah. Oh yeah, or you can find me on my personal LinkedIn as well. So it's James Kujareevanich. Yeah. You'll see me if you go to
Yeah,
the company LinkedIn. Yeah.
I'll actually add it to the description.
Please,
And
please.
yeah, no, again, anyone can reach out to James. But thank you very much, and see you everyone in the next episode.
All right. Thank you, Aaron.
Like,
Have a good day, guys.